Welcome to Legends and Tyrants, where we uncover the lives of the most powerful, controversial, and unforgettable figures in history. Today, we dive into the riveting journey of one of the most polarizing leaders of the 20th century, Indira Gandhi. A woman of iron will, magnetic charisma, and ruthless determination, Indira Gandhi's rise to power and her eventual downfall read like a Shakespearean epic, filled with drama, triumph, betrayal, and tragedy. Was she a savior of India's democracy, or its destroyer? Was she a visionary, or a despot? Stay with us as we peel back the layers of this enigmatic figure who ruled India with an iron fist and left behind a legacy still debated to this day. Indira Priyadarshini Nehru was born on November 19, 1917, in Allahabad, into India's most politically influential family. Her father, Jawaharlal Nehru, was a leading figure in the Indian National Congress and would later become independent India's first Prime Minister. Her mother, Kamala Nehru, was also an active participant in the freedom movement. This household was a crucible of nationalist ideas, sacrifice, and action. Indira's early life was far from ordinary. As a child, she experienced the British Raj's oppressive grip firsthand. Her father was frequently in jail, her mother battled ill health and political persecution, and her home was a revolving door for revolutionaries, thinkers, and statesmen. Young Indira absorbed these experiences, cultivating a sense of resilience and destiny. She founded the Monkey Brigade as a child, a group that engaged in minor acts of rebellion, such as spying and carrying messages for revolutionaries. Even then, it was clear, she was not content with a passive role. Indira's education began at home and later at institutions such as Shantiniketan under Rabindranath Tagore. After her mother's death, she moved to Europe, studying at Oxford but struggling with health issues and personal turmoil. Europe was on the brink of war, and the political climate shaped her deeply. While in London, she met Feroz Gandhi, a fellow Indian student and activist. Their romance was complicated by opposition from Nehru, who feared for her future. Despite this, they married in 1942, in the midst of the Quit India movement. The marriage produced two sons, Rajiv and Sanjay. By the 1950s, Indira had entrenched herself in political circles, serving as her father's confidant and occasional advisor. She officially joined the Congress Working Committee in 1955 and was made party president in 1959. Signaling her steady rise in the political hierarchy. But was this ascent due to merit or lineage? Critics called her a product of nepotism, yet those close to her spoke of a woman who listened, learned, and gradually developed a political will of her own. In the years leading up to Nehru's death in 1964, Indira was already being groomed for leadership. She accompanied him on diplomatic trips, handled correspondence, and developed relationships with key political figures. When Lal Bahadur Shastri succeeded Nehru but died unexpectedly in 1966, the stage was set. A compromise candidate, a puppet, a temporary placeholder. These were the labels thrust upon her. But no one could predict how decisively she would shatter those expectations.
I, Indira Gandhi,
do solemnly affirm
that
I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of India
to the Constitution of India
as by law established,
as by law established,
that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India,
that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India,
that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duties
that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my
as the
duties
Prime Minister for the Union,
as the Prime Minister for the Union,
and that I will do right to all manner of people
and that I will do right to all manner of people
in accordance with the Constitution and the law,
in accordance with the Constitution and the law,
without fear or favor,
without fear or favor,
affection or ill will.
affection or ill.
In January 1966, the Indian National Congress faced a leadership crisis after the sudden death of Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri in Tashkent. The power vacuum threatened to destabilize the fragile post-Nehruvian state. Congress veterans, collectively known as the Syndicate, saw in Indira Gandhi a manageable leader, someone with name recognition, mass appeal, and supposedly little political backbone. They backed her as Prime Minister, expecting compliance. But Indira Gandhi would surprise them all. Her initial months in office were marked by uncertainty. The economy was fragile, food scarcity was rampant, and inflation ran high. The Green Revolution, initiated during Shastri's tenure, was scaled up under Indira. With her support, agricultural production saw a boost, and India took major steps towards self-sufficiency in food grain. Despite opposition from within her own party, Indira pushed bold policies, including the nationalization of banks in 1969. This singular move altered the economic landscape and earned her immense popularity among the poor and working class. It also marked the beginning of her political emancipation from the syndicate. Her next bold step was the abolition of the privy purse, the financial privileges granted to former princes of India. Though symbolic, this move demonstrated her commitment to egalitarianism and won her further grassroots support. Yet, it deepened the rift with conservative elements in Congress. The conflict escalated, and in 1969, the Congress split into two factions: Congress O, led by the Old Guard, and Congress R, led by Indira. Her faction was derided as radical, yet it resonated more with ordinary Indians. When she called for midterm elections in 1971, the gamble paid off. Her campaign slogan, Garibi Hatao, eradicate poverty, struck a chord with millions. Indira's Congress won a landslide. Now truly in command, she turned her attention to the international stage. The Indo-Pakistani War of 1971, sparked by the refugee crisis from East Pakistan, became the defining moment of her premiership. With deft diplomacy and military coordination, she supported the Mukti Bahini rebels, launched military operations, and decisively defeated Pakistan. The war culminated in the creation of Bangladesh. This victory earned her global acclaim. She was hailed as a stateswoman, a savior, and the most powerful woman in the world. But power, as history often warns us, brings hubris. By the early 1970s, Indira Gandhi wielded enormous authority. Her influence extended deep into the bureaucracy, media, and police. Critics warned of democratic backsliding, but many dismissed them, intoxicated by her victories and charisma. What began as a reluctant ascent had turned into a full-blown reign. And though she was now more powerful than any Indian leader since independence, the seeds of crisis had already been sown. The turning point in Indira Gandhi's reign came not from war or foreign threats, but from within, a perfect storm of political unrest, legal trouble, and personal paranoia. In June 1975, the Allahabad High Court found Indira Gandhi guilty of electoral malpractice during her 1971 campaign. The court invalidated her election victory and barred her from holding elected office for 6 years. Her opponents rejoiced, the opposition galvanized. Calls for her resignation echoed in Parliament and across the nation. But Gandhi did not budge. Instead, she made a move that would forever alter Indian democracy. On June 25, 1975, she declared a state of emergency, citing internal disturbances and threats to national stability. The Constitution granted the Prime Minister extraordinary powers under the emergency. Overnight, civil liberties were suspended, press freedom was crushed, opposition leaders were jailed en masse, and government censorship became ubiquitous. The country was placed in lockdown, not of disease, but of dissent. Behind the scenes, her younger son, Sanjay Gandhi, emerged as a power broker. Though unelected, Sanjay became a force in the shadows, initiating controversial policies. Forced sterilizations to curb population growth, mass slum clearances, and an authoritarian youth brigade that operated above the law. Indira's critics now openly called her a dictator. Her admirers justified the emergency as a necessary evil to stabilize India. Crime rates dropped, trains ran on time, and bureaucracy became efficient. But at what cost? The democratic ethos of India, hard-won through decades of struggle, was under siege. Newspapers ran blank editorials. Political rivals languished in jail without trial. Fear and obedience replaced debate and dissent. Internationally, Indira faced condemnation. Yet she remained defiant. In her eyes, the emergency was not an abuse of power but a pragmatic solution to chaos. "You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist," she once said, and during the emergency, both her fists were clenched tight. But power, however absolute, is fleeting. By 1977, Sensing the tide turning, Indira surprised the nation by lifting the emergency and calling for fresh elections. It was a fateful gamble. The people of India responded with clarity. In the general elections of 1977, the Congress Party suffered a crushing defeat. Indira herself lost her seat. For the first time in 3 decades, India was ruled by a non-Congress coalition. The Janata Party came to power, promising restoration of democracy. The jails were opened, press freedom was reinstated, and commissions began probing the excesses of the emergency. Sanjay Gandhi was vilified. Indira Gandhi was interrogated.
हाल में हमारे एक पड़ोस में भी एक झगड़ा उठ गया। आपको तो मालूम है कि हमारी नीति हमेशा दोस्ती की रही है और हमने कोई रास्ता नहीं छोड़ा जिससे कि दोस्ती और मजबूत न हो, चाहे पाकिस्तान से या बांग्लादेश या नेपाल या श्रीलंका। ये हैं हमारे निकट के पड़ोसी। पाकिस्तान में बहुत वर्ष पहले
Indira Gandhi's fall from grace in 1977 was dramatic. From absolute power, she was reduced to political oblivion. The Janata Party, a coalition of former rivals, now controlled the nation. Yet, their unity was fragile, based more on shared hatred for Indira than a cohesive ideology. Meanwhile, Indira didn't retreat quietly. She crisscrossed the country, reconnecting with rural voters and spinning a new narrative that she had been misunderstood, maligned, and martyred. Her resilience became her greatest weapon. Her image as a despot slowly shifted, especially in contrast to the inexperienced, squabbling Janata government. Sanjay Gandhi, once vilified for his emergency-era actions, also began reasserting himself. He resumed grassroots organizing, restructured the Congress Party, and became Indira's enforcer once again. Though controversial, his energy and organizational ability could not be denied. Meanwhile, the Janata government was disintegrating under the weight of its contradictions. Infighting, policy paralysis, and public disenchantment created a vacuum. In 1979, the coalition collapsed. Elections were announced for 1980. Indira Gandhi seized the moment. Her campaign was fierce, emotional, and calculated. She apologized, without truly apologizing, and redirected public frustration toward the failures of her successors. Once again, her slogan was simple and powerful: elect a government that works. The people responded. In the 1980 elections, the Congress stormed back to power. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister once more. Her return was nothing short of miraculous, a testament to her enduring political instincts and deep-rooted connection with India's masses. But the second innings of her career would be darker, more troubled. Just months after her return, tragedy struck. Sanjay Gandhi died in a plane crash while performing aerobatics in a new aircraft. Indira was devastated. Though their relationship was stormy, he had been her political heir. His death left a vacuum she reluctantly sought to fill. Her elder son, Rajiv Gandhi, was an airline pilot, apolitical and reluctant. But Indira persuaded him to enter public life. His induction marked the beginning of a new chapter, one that she hoped would secure her dynasty. Throughout the early 1980s, Indira grappled with mounting internal threats. Punjab was on fire. The Khalistan movement, demanding a separate Sikh homeland, gained momentum, fueled by militant factions and foreign interference. Her response was firm, yet fraught with danger. In 1984, she authorized Operation Blue Star, a military assault on the Golden Temple in Amritsar, where militants had fortified themselves. The operation was successful militarily but catastrophic politically. The desecration of Sikhism's holiest site alienated millions. Although intended to root out extremism, it inflamed communal tensions like never before. Indira Gandhi, once the symbol of unity and power, now walked a tightrope. Her return to power had come full circle, from triumph to tragedy.
India had to face the enormous problem of a mass exodus of refugees from East Pakistan. A war ensued. and Bangladesh was born.
Well, surely that the massacre there stops, the rape stops, the burning of villages stops.
Can it not be fairly put to you that you're contributing in a way to the exodus of the refugees by your support for the Pakistan guerrillas? Now, mustn't you, in effect, face the question of having to reduce your support for the guerrilla armies operating in East Pakistan?
Does that mean we allow a massacre to continue? What happened first? How many people were killed according to your correspondence of British newspapers, of American newspapers, of French newspapers, Canadian newspapers, Arabian newspapers? The massacre began long before there was a single guerrilla.
But as a contribution to quietening the situation, as I say.
No, what does quietening mean? Does it mean that we support the genocide? And do you think it can be stopped? Do you think people are going to sit aside and watch their women raped in front of them? And say that, no, we are going to quieten the situation? That's not quietness. That is the worst possible type of war, is the worst possible type of violence.
By 1984, Indira Gandhi was no longer just a political leader. She was a towering symbol, both of strength and of polarizing decisions. Her green cerise and steely stare had become iconic. But beneath that composed exterior was a woman burdened by enemies, grief, and the ghosts of her past. Operation Blue Star had been successful in military terms. But politically, it had opened a wound in the Sikh community that would not heal easily. As tensions rose, Indira received threats. Her security advisors urged her to remove her Sikh bodyguards. She refused. "I'm not afraid of dying. If I die today, every drop of my blood will invigorate the nation," she declared. These words would become tragically prophetic. On the morning of October 31st, 1984, as Indira walked through the garden of her residence toward a scheduled TV interview with British actor Peter Ustinov, she was ambushed by two of her own bodyguards, Beant Singh and Satwant Singh. They emptied their weapons into her. Beant was killed on the spot by other guards. Satwant was arrested. The Iron Lady of India fell, blood staining the red gravel path beneath her. She was rushed to AIMS hospital, but it was too late. Her body bore over 30 bullet wounds. News of her assassination sent shockwaves through the nation and the world. But what followed was even darker. Within hours, anti-Sikh riots erupted in Delhi and across North India. Congress leaders, some directly complicit, led mobs in brutal pogroms. Homes were burned, gurdwaras destroyed, thousands of Sikhs were murdered in cold blood. Rajiv Gandhi, her son, was sworn in as Prime Minister within hours. At a rally, he uttered the now infamous words, "When a big tree falls, the earth shakes." Many took it as justification for the violence. India mourned, but it also burned. Indira Gandhi's legacy was instantly complicated. To many, she was a martyr. To others, her death was the consequence of years of authoritarianism and communal miscalculations. Funeral pyres and newspaper editorials alike struggled to define her. She was India's first and only woman prime minister, a daughter of Nehru, but her own person. She had fought wars, declared emergency, crushed secessionist threats, and redefined Indian politics forever. Her story did not end with her death. Rajiv Gandhi's premiership was shaped by her shadow. The Congress Party continued to invoke her memory, strong, uncompromising, and controversial. Indira's assassination closed a chapter of intense drama, but her imprint on India was indelible. She had risen as a hesitant leader and perished as a controversial titan. Her reign was filled with achievements and atrocities, vision and vengeance. History continues to wrestle with her legacy. Was she the Iron Lady who kept India united, or the authoritarian who almost tore it apart? Perhaps she was both. And perhaps, in understanding that duality, we begin to understand India itself. Indira Gandhi is a paradox etched into the soul of India. A woman who reshaped the nation, often by breaking its own rules. Her legacy is like a jagged mirror, reflecting brilliance, power, ruthlessness, compassion, and control all at once. To the poor and dispossessed, she was the Messiah of Garibi Hataao, the slayer of poverty. To women across the country, she was a symbol of possibility, a living answer to the question of whether a woman could lead in a male-dominated world. Her speeches stirred emotions, her presence demanded attention, and her political instincts rivaled the best of her era. Yet she was also the woman who suspended civil liberties, silenced dissent, and allowed authoritarianism to creep into the heart of Indian democracy. The emergency remains a stain on her otherwise towering achievements. The forced sterilizations, press censorship, and jailing of opposition leaders shocked the world and broke the trust of many Indians. Still, for all her contradictions, Indira Gandhi remains an icon. She was unapologetically Indian in her worldview, not swayed by the West, not afraid to make hard choices, and fiercely committed to her idea of national unity. Her impact stretched far beyond the borders of India. She was admired by Margaret Thatcher, respected by Fidel Castro, feared by Richard Nixon. In the non-aligned movement, she was a leader who gave voice to the global South. On the battlefield, she outmaneuvered generals. In backdoor politics, she outfoxed rivals. Her name became synonymous with strength, so much so that generations later, politicians would still invoke her for legitimacy. Her descendants, particularly Rajiv Gandhi, and later Sonia and Rahul, bore the weight of her surname, both as a shield and a burden. Culturally, she became part of the national consciousness. From textbooks to cinema, her image loomed large, sometimes heroic, sometimes villainous, always unforgettable. Even today, debates around her governance ignite passion. Was she justified in her crackdown on Khalistani extremists? Did she save Indian democracy during its most fractured hour? Or did she nearly destroy the very institutions that sustained it? The answer, perhaps, lies not in choosing one side of the argument but in embracing the complexity. Indira Gandhi was not one thing. She was many. A daughter raised in the shadows of a political titan. A mother balancing family and statecraft. A prime minister who both loved and feared her people. She was not just the Iron Lady of India. She was India, in all its contradictions, glories, struggles, and resilience. And that is why her story still matters. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Indira Gandhi. Her tale is one of fierce ambition, tragic missteps, and unrelenting resolve. Whether you see her as a tyrant or a legend, or both, there is no denying that she changed India forever. This has been Legends and Tyrants. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives that shaped our world, for better or worse. Until next time, remember, history is never simple, and neither are the people who make it.